You're listening to Nurse Converse, presented by Nurse.org, a collaborative podcast amplifying diverse nurse voices. Get ready for a dose of inspiration, a sprinkle of education, and a whole lot of community.
Did you ever look at your boss and say, why would she have become a leader? She was such a great clinician. Or look at your boss and say, how did he even get this job? Or did you ever, like me, just ponder, I wonder what it takes to get into nursing leadership? This is something I'm interested in. I wonder, what are the steps that I need to take? Who should I talk to? The topic of this podcast is my own leadership journey. But throughout this talk, I hope that I can infuse sort of some answers to those questions, maybe dispel some myths, let you know what it's like to be a leader. My name's Carol Simpson, and I am so grateful to be back here with the Nurse.org Nurse Converse podcast. So let's get started. I think that my leadership journey began with a couple of good ideas. And so what does that mean? I was a nurse on the unit, taking care of patients every day. I had the ability to come to my boss and say, what if we tried this? Or have we ever thought about this? Different ways to just sort of change the way we deliver care, to upgrade, or to do something that would really matter to the patients or to the nurses. Small projects where I had a boss who believed in me, who empowered me to make changes. I was lucky enough to be in an organization where we had structure and we had resources that allowed a nurse to carry the idea from the bedside into practice. And so I think being able to get involved in very small projects showed me I actually like this. I like that I can take what I know clinically, take a little influence, and be able to upgrade our practice or our work environment or do something that would make patient care better. And so I think that's an example of being a little L leader. And I don't love the word little. However, I'm quoting a book that I read during my master's preparation by Mark Sanborn, and it's called You Don't Need a Title to Be a Leader. And it goes through topics of leadership that can be with a big L because you have a title. You're the director of nursing. You are a VP of nursing. You're a nurse manager. You have an actual title that has a capital letter, right? Like a big L. But the value of the little L, the people who are actually doing the work and kind of knowing the reality of the work each day and being able to lead a change or to lead a group, whatever that looks like. And so I highly recommend this book. It continued to cross my mind as I prepared for today's podcast. So a little plug for that book. So I think that after I was able to do these sort of little L projects, I was like, wait, hold on. I think I could be a big L, and I think I could be a big L that's actually clinically relevant. And what I mean by that is I felt like a lot of leaders got very far from the bedside. They were either pretty far into their career and just hadn't taken care of a patient in a long time, or the obvious thing happens in nursing leadership where nursing leaders are pulled away from the bedside. We are the only group in hospital leadership that gets pulled away from the bedside, and I think that could be a topic for a whole other podcast, right? But if you're a CRNA and you're a leader, you still practice. If you're a physician and a leader, you still practice. Nurse practitioners become leaders, but they still practice. So why don't we? Topic for another podcast, because I think it's a huge can of worms, and I actually see both sides to this. So nonetheless, I felt like I was somebody who was interested in leadership only about 15 years into my nursing career. And I felt like, okay, I've got all this expertise. I know what really happens in my day to day, and I love the ability to impact change. And so I want to be the big L. So I set my own path. I was a newish mom. I had a 4-year-old and I had an 18-month-old, and it didn't seem like the best time to get my master's degree, but I also know there's no great time to get yourself back in school. It's hard. It's a time commitment. When you're ready, do it. That's all I can say. So I enrolled in a program. Sometimes I went part-time and sometimes I went full-time. I was able to change that up as I went. I went some summers. I, slowed down or went faster depending on what my family needed at the time. And so I enrolled in that and I finished in that. And, throughout the time that I was in school, I really took advantage of opportunities. Anything that I saw that was of interest to me, I wasn't just volunteering for every committee to be, gain brownie points. I was looking for things that interested me. I was looking for things that I knew I could genuinely contribute to and actually make a difference in. And so, I call that the two-way street, right? Like you're interested and your boss is interested in propelling you, keep that two-way street going, right? You don't just get a shoulder tap one day and say, you should be a leader, and then it happens. You have to continue to really grow that and, make sure you're kind of nurturing that spirit as you go through of get involved, learn as much as you can, seek as many mentors as you can, listen to everyone, listen to the leader you admire, listen to the leader you don't admire that much. You're still going to learn something. So I finished my master's degree and I applied to my first formal leadership job. And this actually involved me leaving my organization that I had known so well and loved so much. And I ventured into an area that I didn't know. So I had left pediatric oncology for about 15 years and I went into the perioperative space. And that was really new for me, another learning experience. Shortly into that, I got asked to do an interim role that was actually an upgraded job role in the emergency department. And if you want to talk about really different places, go from oncology care to an emergency department. It couldn't be any more different. I needed to really step back and learn from these people. It was a very different type of practice. It was a very different type of care. It was very episodic. I was used to a long-term nature of care. I was used to the cleanest environment, the planned out procedures, and the nature of the emergency department being whatever walks in and flies at your face was really different for me. I had to learn so much and I had to really sit back and listen and understand people and not walk in there and assume that I know what they do. This was hard. This is not for the faint of heart. It turned out to be the biggest blessing. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much that I didn't know. I started to respect and understand a whole different form of nursing than I had ever done. And also learn about lots of different roles. It was really just a great experience and kind of my first toe dip into okay, if you know how to lead, you can go anywhere. You can. It's nice to have some subject matter expertise, but let me keep going. So after this, I had done that interim role for about 6 years and again learned so much and really came to love that team so much. And shortly thereafter, I really wanted to return to my home organization and I took a job in sedation and radiology. And similar to the time that I was in periop at my last job, I got asked to do an interim for a short time that turned into a permanent job. This time it was in the operating room. And I thought the ED was really different nursing. Go to the operating room. Wow. That was a whole new world. That was nursing like I had never seen nursing. That was really interesting personalities. That was a variety of people. It was dealing with surgeons, it was dealing with anesthesiologists, and it was humbling. You definitely needed to listen carefully. You definitely needed to stop and say, what are you talking about? And you had to put aside a lot of your ego to say, I don't even know what word you just used. Tell me what that is. I did not know all those instruments had names. I learned what a Kelly is, the infamous Nigerian. If any of my old operating room nurses are listening to this, thank you for teaching me that. I later learned that was a doctor's name. So really interesting. That's probably how all of those instruments were named. I came to this place of complete humbleness of just like, whoa, all right, I've got to really figure this out with this team and I need them to show me sometimes. And I need to understand what they need so that I can help them because I'm not here for me. I'm here for them. So that was all really interesting time. I think that taught me one, stay humble. A lot of leaders don't stay humble. It taught me to listen in an all new way. Don't zone out. Don't look at your phone. Listen to people. Actually look at them and listen to them and hear what needs to be done. This is going to build trust. I think that on both of these teams that were very kind of foreign to me, people really came to me with things and I loved that. Even when they brought me something that I did not want to hear at all, at least I knew there weren't secrets. Just say it to my face, right? If you don't like something I said, come tell me. If I could have done something better, come tell me. And most of all, what do you need done? Because that's what I'm here for, right? Like I'm here to help you practice. I'm not here for me. This isn't a great time for me every day. So I think that, all of that kind of allowed for new approachability and a lot of regulation of my own emotion. And what I mean by that is I think I wound up in really difficult conversations, huddles where people are essentially yelling at me. And while I'm smiling, it definitely gives you a little bit of that fight or flight visceral response where you either want to run away, crawl out of your skin, scream back. And I think that these experiences gave me a lot of ability to pause, listen, and respond honestly, even if it makes you look like, half a fool. Like, I don't have your answer, or I wish I could have done that better, or I'm sorry and I am working on this. I think that those were really huge growth years. I'm now back in my specialty in pediatric oncology, and I couldn't be happier to at least have a really good understanding of what is clinically happening and to be able to support this team. I do want to give you a little idea of sort of what a day in the life is as a manager or now a director, which is the position I hold currently. And, I think as a manager, you're doing a lot of daily operations. You're doing a lot of blocking and tackling. Who called out? What do we need? Are we out of this supply? What are the clinical needs today? Is there something we've never seen before? Is there a patient that's really upset? Has someone's condition changed? Is there a family that needs me to talk to them? There are interpersonal issues with staff sometimes that you get involved in. You get involved with HR or performance management. The manager level is so much work. It's so much learning. It's so much pausing and understanding and listening. It's a really tough role. I will say, I think I am a better director than I am manager. I think that the manager detail orientation is really tough, and you have to stay on top of things and really hold yourself accountable to a lot. And you're very forward facing. You've got to always be on stage in a way, and it's really challenging and also rewarding because again, you see growth in people. You see that charge nurse who's a new charge nurse really thriving. You see a project carry to fruition, and you really get to see where you've made a difference, and it's pretty neat. As a director, I'm a little further removed from the team, but I still get the ability to say, what's going on? What are your needs? What has to get escalated to me? How do we set the vision? What goals do we need to make this year? I don't love the word directive. I don't love the idea that I have some different power. I instead like to think about, how am I supporting you? The same book that I had referenced before, You Don't Need a Title to Be a Leader, it references power with the people and not power over the people. And I think that that is how I choose to lead, is how do I give you what you need to be able to succeed? I should be able to pull the string and you go. I might have needed to do some of the background stuff to be able to bring you to where you are, to give you the resource to empower you. But how great when you can, kind of be set free to implement a change or to really make a difference for patients. And so that's kind of the way I like to lead. I like to get involved in hospital strategy. I like to get involved in unit strategy. And I like to still round and listen to what's going on with the people. You're never going to learn more than from talking to the people that do the work. I stand by that. So I don't know where my next landing is going to be in leadership. I like to stay open to whatever the hospital needs in a lot of ways, right? Like, I love working for the people that do the work. I feel like I work for them. But at the end of the day, I work for the hospital. And so my last couple career moves were led by what a hospital needed. And I was happy to serve and kind of, follow the call. I also am taking my own steps to have mentors at the next level, to understand what the next level sort of does in their day to day, because I do think that I want to seek the next level of learning. I will probably pursue my DNP next. I will probably continue with mentorship and showing up to meetings with maybe a different kind of strategic lens and thinking more about, well, what is the VP level looking like? What would it take for me to be there? And do I have what I need? I think that I have a unique breadth of experience having worked in all these places. I have unique depth of experience. And, I hope it leads me to another fun adventure. But if I stayed here for the rest of my life, I would also be happy. I love my team and I love what we do every day. I think that every leader has a platform, whether they've ever spelled it out. I think that every leader should have a platform. And I think that my nursing leadership platform is people, people, people. You may have picked up on that throughout this. You may have also picked up on the fact that I'm a bit of an extrovert. And so that people connection is where I thrive. And that's not for everyone. Everybody's platform is not going to be the same. And so when I say people, 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 my version of that is, again, right, thinking of my team as my customers. They are the people that keep us going, that keep us moving. It's not only the patients as our customers. When we have happy internal customers, we have happy external customers. So, really investing in our people as resources is huge for me. Making sure that we have the proper staffing levels, not too many, right? I'm not financially irresponsible, but we need the right number and the right mix of people to do the job every day and for our patients to get the right care. And so, investing in that level of people, keeping the staff engaged and happy is huge. The cost of turnover is enormous. The cost of orienting is enormous because it also starts to weigh on people. The people who actually are doing the orientation each day, it's so tiring to orient someone and then they turn over. I get that. So this is where I'm kind of talking about really investing in the people you have and invest in retaining people. It's a big deal. And invest in happy people. Work should be fun. Work should be fun. Again, spoken like a true extrovert who goes and visits their friends in their offices, makes sure everyone's doing okay, says hello, likes to talk and chat and laugh for a little bit. The work needs to be done, but we also need to be having fun at work. To go back to that external and internal customer model, I think that I was in a leadership forum as a brand new leader at my first organization, and we were going around the table talking about a quality improvement effort and who are our customers. And everyone's saying patients are our customers, their families are our customers. And I raised my hand and said, our team is our customer. And nobody agreed. At this organization, it was like, we have one customer, and that's the patient and the family. And I pushed back a little to say, yes. And when you have a really happy staff, who I would call my internal customers, you have happy patients because you have people who want to be at work, who want to be delivering care, who want to be all in with that family. So if those people are happy, the patients are also getting amazing care. And so I got a lot of pushback, and I just kind of rested my argument there. I didn't have enough confidence to say, I totally agree to disagree with you, and I think I'm right. Today, I'll say that. I wouldn't have said it back then. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with like the internal and external customers. I think, again, speaking of people, people, people as my professional platform, build a team that doesn't look like you. And that can be background, race, gender, thoughts, ability. If you onboard a whole team that has your skill set, good luck. I need all of those people who love to get deep into data, who really are just so amazing at details. Those people are always on my team because it's not my strongest suit. I love a vision. I love a big picture, but I don't love all of that nitty gritty. And so building a team that only looked like me would lead us to get nothing done. We need every single type of person on our team. So again, I'm an extrovert. Give me all the introverted data people. Love them, need them. I talked about listening and connecting. That goes along with my people, people, people part. I think you will never learn more from the people who do the work, and I'm going to stop saying that. I think reducing meetings is part of my professional platform, and it all goes to people, people, people. If you are rounding, if you're talking to people, you can get so much work done. Sitting in a meeting that rarely has action items at the end is not my bag. I would rather be out there rounding. I would rather run into the people on the streets. I would rather, talk about that thing we need to get done, or, oh, I forgot that we still need to do this. There will always be a meeting, of course. It's not no meetings, but I think that we could do a better job of getting out of our seats, getting out there and talking to people. I get so much more out of my days when I have seen the team than I do sitting on Zoom all day. I don't do well on those days. In starting to close, if I was giving 3 takeaways to somebody who wants to be a leader tomorrow, today, I would say, for starters, and this is huge, don't do this for the fame and the glory because it's a hard job. You're never really off. Don't do it for good hours. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 aren't good hours. Let's be honest. It's also hard. You're getting calls in the day. You're getting calls in the night. You're getting calls on the weekend. You're really never off. So don't seek that as the amazing part. The amazing part is seeing your team grow. It's seeing care go to the next level. It's seeing the work environment improve. It's seeing people laughing at work. It's seeing the team say, I'm running to lunch, but before I do, does anyone need anything? The teamwork and the spirit that I see at work every day, that's what drives me. It is not all fun and games. Budgeting, not that fun. Staying within budget, not that fun. So don't do it for, again, the glory or what might from afar look like an easy job. Oh, she sits at a desk. No, I don't love the desk. We went through that. Remember the two-way street, right? So even if somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, I think you have potential, take that to the next level, volunteer for the next thing and deliver, right? Like follow up, be communicative, stay open. Here's where I am on this project. Or I would love the resources to carry this out. What do we have? What could I do? I told you about my early projects, right? They were like kindergarten quality improvement, right? One was how do we fast track patients who don't need to get into kind of the main fray of our outpatient, very busy clinic when they have a very quick thing that they need to get done. Awesome project. Had a great time with that. Another one was why aren't our supplies lined up in order that we need them? If I'm accessing a port, why aren't all the port supplies on this shelf? All of the dressing changes on this shelf? All of the lab draws on this shelf? So basic, right? But it was so fun. And we actually could prove that it saved the number of steps nurses took, physical steps. So great. That saves time, that saves energy, and it probably saved frustration. Take the two-way street. Think about the things you want to do. Go to your boss. Think about how to get the resources. And I can't say enough about mentorship as a closing. I think you should seek a mentor at any level. You should be a mentor at any level. And again, if you're already a leader, your mentor might be above you for your next level job. Your mentor might be your peer, and your mentor might be someone who reports to you, who just gave you that look and huddle like, I know you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm going to tell you what we were talking about so that you know. A mentor does not have to take any particular form. Those would be the things I would close with. And I would also close with your path to leadership might look completely different than mine. It will look completely different than mine. So don't try to fit any mold, right? Like don't try to think about my life as an extroverted people person. Don't think about my entering school when I had small kids. This is your path, right? We all get to the same place at the end if this is what we really want. And the contributions and the different look to the team when everybody came from a different place is beyond valuable. And so don't fit anyone's mold. Do your thing, get there, seek your mentors. All of our podcasts have information attached to them, and my contact information would also be attached as well as my social media. And so you're welcome to follow me or reach out to me or ask me a mentoring question or anything like that. I so appreciate people tuning in and keeping the Nurse Converse podcast going. We're open to different types of topics that you want to hear. I love leadership topics. It's what I do. And so it's probably the one that I have the most insight into. I love my job. I want to keep doing it. And I want to also be able to provide content that you actually care about. So definitely leave comments and don't forget to rate us when you see the podcast or hear them. That's really important for us to continue and learn from you and understand what you want to hear and how we're doing. So have a great day and thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for joining Nurse Converse, brought to you by Nurse.org. Help us grow by leaving a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. Nurse.org supports nurses with career and education tips, life advice, and breaking news. Thank you for all you do and for being you.